Welcome to Iconic Leadership, the podcast for female entrepreneurs who know they're here to lead, not just build a business. This show is for women stepping into the Alpha Queen era, where leadership becomes identity, power is embodied, and success is created from the inside out. Here, we explore sovereign leadership, expansion, vision, purpose, business, and the inner work that is required to build an empire that fits the woman you are becoming. Strategy matters, but who you are matters more. I'm Carissa Atkins, and this is Iconic Leadership. Welcome to the new standard of the Alpha Queen power. All right, you guys, welcome back to Iconic Leadership. I'm Carissa Atkins, your host. This is my incredible epic daughter, Sarah Williams. She is one of two children that I have. I do, just highly, I cannot speak any more highly than Sarah. Her leadership, her mindset, her confidence is just off the charts every time I have a conversation with her. So let's dive into mindset. Like, I really love this conversation because I can geek out about, the mind and why people do, why they do and whatnot. So Sarah, what's on your mind, girl, when it comes to mindset?
Um, though, okay, so I like the topic mindset only because for me, it's like I grew up around it. I grew up around, a strong mom who was pushing herself more than anyone else I could see in my life. And I just honestly thought that was normal. So it's
Mm,
like for me to like say that like, oh, I relate to having like an always negative mindset or like always, like having like self-doubt. It's like, yes, I've had those moments, but I've never like I've always gotten myself out of it because it was
mhm,
just natural in
mm,
a way, just because I grew up around it. But honestly, I think like mindset just in general, I think people think too deep about it.
mm,
Not that you shouldn't. Like I think mindset's like a great thing to really dive into and like build and develop. But, for me as someone who's always had it naturally
And
in
naturally,
a
what do you mean?
in a
Like
way,
a
like
positive
I've always
mindset or
had like
like
yes,
what?
I've always been a
Okay,
positive
okay.
person. But like I've always just had that like we talked about this earlier, but like that all in or nothing
Mm-hmm.
vibe
Mm-hmm.
and or like that competitive, wanting to be the best, striving to be better. It's like those things seem so natural to me. So it's like I kind of like in a sense I overlook that aspect of
Mm-hmm.
like there's so many aspects that go into my mindset,
Mm-hmm.
but it's always been natural. And so like, I think like when people decide to like do something, it's like, yeah, you got to do it all the way
Mm.
or just give it up.
Yeah.
But, you know, people with like a poor mindset, it's just like my question is, it's just like why? Like why do you have a poor mindset? And
Mm.
it's
What do you think drives that? Like what you grew up naturally with a mom who was driven, motivated. I found myself and found my confidence and really started stepping into the personal development space like as a person first before I was even a coach, right? So Sarah, just let me give you just plain the picture here. We're in Germany. She's 1 to 4 years old. We live there. I was depressed, I was stressed, I was drinking 2 bottles of wine a day. I was smoking 2 packs of cigarettes. I was 200, 13 pounds. And there was a point in my life where I hit rock bottom. And I realized that no one was coming to save me and that I was making all the excuses in the world. I was blaming everyone for the circumstances and for the life that I had. And this moment woke me up. And I was like, wow, I want more for my kids. Now, my son was about what, 7, you were 3 or 4. So when Sarah says she's never, she's grew up with this positive mindset, she doesn't even realize that they're, like, how do you have a negative mindset? Like, this is all I know. Um, you know, like she's never not known anything else. And so now that you have like the picture, because they're like who people see that I am, very strong-minded, very positive, very focused, very all in, whatever it is that I want, I go after and I get it. And there's no stopping. I'm pretty fearless when it comes to most things. And so that's all the mama that she's ever grown up with. So it's natural for you to have this like really
well,
strong
it's just like
positive
when I look at
mindset.
you, it's like yes, I've seen the pictures and I've heard your story like 100 times. Like I could say it myself. But and that's not a bad thing. Like
Yeah.
it's great. But it's just like sometimes I think I'm like, how could my mom actually be like that negative about herself? And I'm like,
Mm,
I've never seen that. And I'm like, how could my mom be that low when it's like she's always gotten herself back up? It's just
mhm,
like I sometimes it's hard to imagine you like that.
mhm,
And like I can yes, like I have a very understanding mindset, like
Mm,
just like personality. I'm an understanding person. I'm super empathetic. I can see different points of views pretty easily, and it's like I can understand how someone can have a negative mindset when they grow up
mhm,
differently than I did. But like at the end of the day, when it comes to like committing to a goal, that's
mhm,
when I'm like, why would you not? I'm like,
mhm.
people come to me and they're like, I don't know what to do. And it's like, I give them the advice and they're like, well, I don't want to make the wrong decision. It's like, just make the freaking decision. It's
Yeah.
not that big of a deal because at the
Mhm.
end, I'm like, it's just gonna work out.
Why do
And
you think people have a hard time making decisions?
because people have commitment issues, it's like
Mm,
like it's like I feel like it's like a fear of being wrong
mm,
or like maybe it's a fear of struggling.
mhm,
I've also naturally have never been scared of failure because I understand that failure is where you grow. Like I'm
mm.
like you can't be great and not fail.
Right.
I mean
Right. You
like
got to fail you right at the top almost.
I
So
you
you would agree you
can
learn more in failure than you do just getting the easy
yes, like I think
E1.
100%. I think like being like struggling and like going through hard times is literally meant to happen. Like you're not
Mhm,
supposed to have an easy life. I don't.
mm.
I think people who say that they have an easy life are either blindsiding their trauma or blindsiding the things that they've gone through and like just haven't realized it,
Mm,
or they're just like super privileged and they have that
mm,
mindset of like, oh, I can get anything I want because, my parents did this or that for me, like always did that. And like
mhm,
you could tell them the mindset between like those kinds of people who like to struggle or like
mhm,
to fail because they
mhm,
know that they can grow from it versus those people who are like, oh, I don't want to struggle because it's like that's such a hard thing to do.
mhm, mhm,
Because it's like I don't know. It's the way that people act and carry themselves and like in a sense the way that they like dedicate themselves
mhm,
to like a problem or something. It's like I make a decision, I stick to it. If it sucks, it sucks, but I'm like, it's gonna be okay and I'll
mhm,
be fine and I'm gonna grow. And they're more of like, oh, I make the wrong decision. I'm gonna back out and just go a different way. Or
mm.
I'm gonna back out and like just not do it anymore
Yeah.
because it's hard. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, just pivot then. Like
Yeah.
why stop playing when you can just pivot? And it's like, I don't know.
The power of the
I'm thinking
pivot.
about basketball. Like
The
I'm
power
thinking
of
like, not every great basketball player made every single shot that they did. Like thousands of missed reps
right.
is equal to one great shot. So it's
Right.
just like, those kinds of like mindset
Mm-hmm.
versus thinking like, oh, they got to the top because like they had access to the things. It's like no, they worked really hard for it.
Right.
And it's just like recognizing that.
Yeah, I love that. So, like, I'm getting ready to launch my very first solo book. It is called Unapologetic. It's the 10 Universal Laws of Iconic Leadership.
Is that where I heard the word?
Yeah, who knows, right? All right, so this book is coming out, but really, when I look at the book, Sarah, it has everything to do with helping women become masters of their own minds and their own bodies. And universal law number one is what we call aligned sovereign decisions, because even as adults, I find women wasting so much time and so much energy sitting on the fence, trying to make a decision or contemplating a decision. I've realized that so many people make decisions based out of fear or based out of people pleasing or based out of what will people think, right? So it's kind of rooted in outside sources versus internal, like what's really in alignment with you. So I teach a three-part matrix called the aligned decision matrix, but I'm curious, when you're getting ready to make a big decision, really quickly, how do you make a decision?
I think the first thing that I go off is like pros and cons. I'm like, okay, what's my problem?
Hmm.
What if I want to do this decision and like if
Hmm.
I say yes to it, I'm like, what are the pros of saying yes? What are the cons of saying yes? It's like, yes, okay, it takes more time. The pro, yay.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
I'm doing
Yeah.
it. And then if I do another decision, it's like, okay, what's the pros of making this decision and saying no to this opportunity? It's like I don't have to give up certain things. I have
Hmm.
more freedom. I can do, other things. I can find another hobby and then the pros are like or the cons are mirrors of like missed opportunity. And then,
Hmm.
I mean, just like for me personally, like I think more of like when I overthink about things, it's like, I was like, if I did something different, like, how would have that changed my life? Like, if I decided to, to take that opportunity instead of turning it down, it's like, where would have my life been now?
Hmm.
And then at the end of the day, though, I'm just like, okay, I made that decision,
So
whatever.
you
Like,
own it.
yeah,
You
like
make
I
a
just own my
decision and she
decision.
just
And then
owns
I
it.
own it because it's like I can like sit and like think about it
Think
and
about
like
it.
overthink and spiral and be like, oh, if I took that cooking opportunity when I was 9, I could
Right.
be a chef right now. And
Yeah.
it's like cool. And it's
Right.
like now you wouldn't have been the person who you are today and you like yourself. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Everything
why?
happens in the right
Yeah.
in the
So it's
right
just like,
time.
it's like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, like I made that happen for a reason. So it's just like, I'm gonna just own it and like say
Hmm.
no. So it's like, like I think a big like something that I could actually like relate to like with like common like or not common but like more like that's something that's like frequently is like
Hmm.
deciding whether to give up softball or playing it in
Mm.
college. And it was like the pros of playing college is like playing a sport that I love and doing something where I am so confident and I am so myself and I am so, you
In your
know,
zone.
like literally like in my zone.
Yeah.
Like there's no like other ways to describe it and it's just like a pure joy that like you can feel. And then I like think about it and I'm like, but the cons of it was coming out of high school, it's like senior year, I was burnt out. And
Hmm.
it was like I didn't want to play anymore. I wanted to
Hmm.
coach. And so it's like playing could have destroyed the love for a sport that was already starting to diminish. And
Hmm.
it's like, choosing not to play, it's like, yes, I miss the sport. I miss the game. I miss, the failure that came with it and like the
Hmm.
struggle. But it's more of so like, okay, maybe I could have gone to college. Granted, it was in Minnesota, so like, who wants to be in Minnesota? No offense. But
We may have listeners in
yeah,
Minnesota.
but like,
Yeah.
playing softball in
Yeah.
Minnesota, it's like you realistically get 4 months out of the year playing on an outdoor
Hmm.
field,
Hmm.
and it's not like going to California where you can play it all year round.
Right.
And so it's like weighing those kinds of decisions, and then ultimately me saying, no, I'm just gonna go to college here
Hmm.
and in Nebraska and then doing what I actually want to do of like working with athletes and being able to help them and work in nutrition or athletic training and doing that kind of stuff versus being out on the sport being the athlete that's most likely going to get hurt because it's
Hmm.
like knowing myself,
Hmm.
not that I'm like always getting hurt but I naturally I am like
Yeah.
I always get hurt so it's like
Every season, guys.
it's
Every
like I could
season.
go to college and it's like I could, get out there, spend all this money going to a school that I don't necessarily want to go to,
Hmm.
and then first practice I like break my leg and then I
Mm,
can't
pray from
play.
that.
I know, but like I like those are just things that I'm just like, I could have gone out there and like the whole point of it is that like everything happens for a reason. I chose not to play the sport, so I have a feeling that if I went out there, something would have prevented me in a way of not being able to play, and I have to
Hmm.
just give up the dream.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
like I think me choosing not to go after that was the decision, and I'm like people ask me like, "Oh, do you wish you did?" I'm like, "No."
You owning it. Yeah. You're
Because
fully owning it.
it's just like why would I contemplate something that I really thought hard about. It wasn't like I made this decision on a whim
Hmm.
because it's like I took the time to
Process and
to make the highlight reel and reach out
yeah.
and email and try to go and try my hardest and get paid for all the stuff for like recruiting. And it's just like at the end of the day it's like no, I actually I don't think that was a waste of time, but I just was like, this isn't for me anymore. It's not
Mm.
serving me. It's not gonna bring me like that long lasting joy. Like it could have brought me a joy during a game, but like
Hmm.
pushing really hard through an injury in practice is like hard.
Right. It's a
And
bigger
it's like
purpose, bigger
there's other things I mean like at the end of the day, like we've just been saying back and forth, it's just like make the decision, own it, and then commit to it.
but like if you guys notice, like we aren't scripting anything. We don't like we're just a free flow right
Yeah.
now. But like she started with like the logical side of a decision. And she was like, yeah, just pros and cons it, black, white. Do I have time for this? Can I commit to this? Can I go all in with this? Like whatever the decision making is. But for once, I didn't hear that she was searching outside. Like other people could have very easily influenced her, like as her parents, right? We're like, please, we just spent 10 years like
Yeah.
priming you for college of
Yeah.
softball, right? Like
Yeah.
all of the money, we could have easily done that and did that. But what I'm hearing is that she went inward, right? She
Yeah.
she she didn't care about what other people think that she should do because ultimately it's her life and she made the decision and she's owning it. But
Yeah.
never once did you even talk about the
That's
emotional
funny.
side of a decision. She went straight logical. She's like black, white,
I
pros,
mean,
cons. Is there
like,
an emotion side to a
I mean,
decision?
yes, I think so. I think like there's certain, situations in life where you have to think emotionally and you have to be like, well, what is my heart saying? And
Hmm.
it's like those aren't bad decisions, but and I think that they have their service. Um, Sometimes your heart is wrong. Like you can.
Like with boys,
Yes,
or what are we gonna?
yes, like that's like a easy example that I can relate
Yeah,
it to is
yeah.
boys, but it's just like your heart can be wrong. Like it could have like good for you,
Hmm.
but like, and I'm not saying that you should never listen to your heart because
Yeah,
I listen to my heart so much
yeah.
because I am an empath, but it's like you gotta use your brain sometimes. It's like it's like yes, my heart wants $1 million, but my
Yeah,
brain is like, okay, how are you gonna get that? How are you
sure.
gonna, do that?
Hmm.
Or it's like
Hmm.
my heart wants, simply, it's like
Hmm.
I want to go to a store and buy a fancy dress and
So
do
how do you
all
find
this
the
stuff.
balance though between
And
that heart and the logic?
um, yeah, I'm not saying it has to be like one or the other,
Yeah.
or like whatever. I think, it's like how I think when I think more about my decision of like a heart, it's like I make that decision with my mind first, like with my
Mm,
brain, and then I'm like,
okay.
how does that feel? And
Mm,
like how would that make me feel in the future? And or like how does it bring me joy in any way? So it's like, quitting softball, not choosing to play it in college. It's like
hmm.
I made that decision, but then I thought about it and like quote unquote like reflected.
Hmm.
And then I was like, what does my heart feel or like what is my like gut telling me? And it was like, yeah, this is okay. It's like it's bittersweet. It's
Sure.
like you love the sport. You always have the love for the sport like no other, but I mean my heart knew that like I wasn't in the game anymore. Like
Sure.
senior year, I was
Mhm.
like I guess like I'm not trying to sound like this like extraordinary athlete. But, like I was good. Like I was good at softball. Everyone knew it. Like schools are trying to recruit me from other high schools in a different
Mhm.
country. Like that kind of good. I know it's like Dodea, so it's like different. But like, I was good and like I knew I was good and it just though got to the point where I was like, I love being a captain and my coaches at the time weren't very great coaches,
Hmm.
but so I felt like in a way I was coaching the team and then
Hmm.
I did that softball
Would you
camp.
say that you started falling in love? Yeah,
And, like I
she did
just
a
fell in love with a different aspect of the game.
right.
It was like
Yeah.
I loved to play, but like my senior year I was playing freaking pitcher the entire
Hmm.
time. I wasn't even playing the position that like I love. So it was like in a way, being the only pitcher on the team, not like the only pitcher, but like the main pitcher on the
Yeah.
team, I got thrown into not being able to play my
Your
position.
game. Yeah.
And so it's like I wasn't, because like pitcher leader me is different than shortstop leader me.
Hmm.
Shortstop, I am loud, energetic, 24/7, getting in people's faces. I'm aggressive. Like I'm
Hmm.
on the line, I have the best view of like the field, and it's like I know my position, whereas as a pitcher, I was quieter because I was like, I have to focus on my mental game because
Hmm.
this is really hard because when you're at shortstop, you got your second baseman and your third baseman on you, like on your right and left. When
Hmm.
you're as a pitcher, it's like like you have your catcher, yes, but it's like
Hmm.
you're out there alone and
Hmm.
people will encourage you and people will talk to you, but
Hmm.
it's not the same
Yeah.
when you can't interact with them. Not that you can't, but like I never did, and
You were in the zone. It was a different headspace. It was like an
I
identity
mean,
thing.
like
She was like, I'm a pitcher now.
no, like at shortstop, it's like I was smiling out on the field as
Yeah.
pitcher. I rarely did I actually smile. And it
Yeah,
was like,
I remember.
and it's not, it's just like, it's a different kind of headspace and a mindset. And so, like, when I wasn't able to play the position that I loved, it was like, it took a part of me away.
Hmm.
But at the same time, as a pitcher, I was able to help someone who's never played softball grow into that
Hmm.
pitcher position. And then also being able to like help the catchers and just being able to, I had a little bit more free time because, like, at the same time, my coaches were like, oh, she's good. She doesn't need all the work. It's like,
Hmm.
yes, I do.
Yeah,
The
yeah. It was
fundamentals
a
aren't
frustrating
important.
year, I remember.
But like I was able to
Yeah.
help out with everything and I was
Hmm.
like, "Hey, you should do this. You should like giving advice and basically coaching the team." And it was just like I loved giving the pep talks. I liked pulling girls aside and being I'm like, "Get out of your head." I'm like, "You're
Hmm.
fine." Like when it became to like hitting, a lot of people looked to me because I was a strong hitter. And it's funny because like my coaches would be on like third or first base and the girl who's in the batter's box wouldn't look to the coach. They would look to the dugout and be like, "What should I do?" And I'm like, "Bunt,
So she
swing."
brings up an
It's like,
interesting point, right?
eh,
Like here on even softball. So I know we're having a conversation with a 19-year-old and it's going down, softball lane and like mindset lane. But when you think about it, right, as an entrepreneur, there's a lot of players in the game, right? You've got the clients, you've got the team, you've got the family, if you're a wife and a mom, and like all of that, like we carry so much pressure just like any athlete would. But when you bring up a point, Sarah, where naturally, right, she started stepping into this leadership role. So coaches and the school that she was in, right, she kind of had to step into a new role as a new, pitcher and go from a position she absolutely loved. She was brilliant at it. She had to learn a new position. She learned it, right, self-taught this position to herself. And for many years, she was a catcher. And so, like, I get there was already basic knowledge there. But at the end of the day, she had to pretty much self teach
oh,
herself
100%.
how to pitch. And
Like,
then, but you started to step into this leadership role. And it was really beautiful to see, because she would mentor these girls and, off to the side, she'd have conversations and she'd help them with their mindset. She'd help them with their confidence. She would help them with from the skill side of things, the softball awareness. And as an entrepreneur, that's really, really important. We have to help our team be successful, right? Because there's one cause, one mission. But she started stepping into this role that she wasn't necessarily even wanting or going for, but then she found love for leading and leadership and
yeah,
mentorship.
I just like to the point to where like I loved the coaching aspect so much that I was just like I don't want to play anymore. I want to coach. And
Hmm.
it was just like I'm okay with not playing. And
Right.
like that was definitely something considering like softball like literally is my sport. Like I played basketball growing up and I played volleyball growing up, but it's like I gave up those two things because at the end of the day like I wanted to pursue softball all the way and
Hmm.
go 100% and be this great player. And now I'm like I still have a dream of coaching and it's like I haven't, picked up a softball in a year, but
Hmm.
it still comes across my mind at least once a week because I'm
Hmm.
like especially with like the NCAA and everything going on with, the softball tournaments, I'm like, yeah, I could be out there and I could be
Hmm.
coaching. It's like that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And it's not even like, oh, like I want to coach at collegiate level and like
Right.
do everything. It's like, no, I actually, my biggest goal, not like biggest goal, but like one of my goals in life is to coach, a 12U team, but specifically 12U because that's the age where you decide whether you're going to commit to the sport and play all the
Hmm.
way up until you're 18 or you're going to play at a college level. Because
Hmm.
that's when you kind of like 8U, your parents are like,
Yeah.
you should go play softball.
Everyone
You should go play.
plays.
It's coach pitch, whatever, like do all that kind of stuff. 10U, it's like, okay, you like the sport, you're good at it but your parents are could still be influencing you. And then 12U is like, okay, you made the decision, you're old enough to say, I want to keep playing this sport or
Yeah.
I want to do something else. And I think that's the
You
mind
start to become
that's
part of a
well, I think
decision.
for girls, it's just like that's when the like I guess that's when your mind starts to like to develop like a deeper thinking of like what do I want to do as like a
Hmm.
girl? Like what do
Versus
I
what
want to
your parents
play?
think. Yeah.
And so that's the age that's more difficult because it's like you have the girls that, okay, these are the girls that decided that they wanted to play.
Hmm.
And it's like now you have to, and that's the age of like you learn so much as like mindset. So like when I was in 12U, I had a coach I know, but
Yeah.
like when I was in 12U, I had a coach who bashed me on negative thinking.
Hmm.
She told me everything that I was doing wrong, and that set me up for failure in the future. And I had to learn to be like, yes, I'm failing at every single rep that I'm doing, but what am I doing right? It's like
Right.
I have already understood what I'm doing wrong. I know what I need to fix, and I'm trying my hardest to
Hmm.
fix that. So it's like, what
Hmm.
am I doing right?
Right.
And then so like when I want to coach like a 12U team, it's like I don't want to focus on their negatives and being like, you're not moving your feet quick enough. Like, yes, I'm gonna say that, but I'm like, hey, you're not moving your feet quick enough. Let's do something to fix that.
Right.
Let's, work on your confidence when it comes to hitting because, most batting issues is because you're not confident in your swing
Hmm.
because everyone's telling you what you're doing wrong. So it's like
Right.
actually just find your own confidence, like stuff like that.
Right.
And so it's like that's like the kind of things that like I want to do, but that's like just like in general, that's the age that I feel like
I love it.
people.
She's niched in even. I mean, when you think about it, right? Like as entrepreneurs, I'm always like, what's your niche? Who do you want to serve? And Sarah knows, like, and that's just like one, did you hear that? I just one of my goals, right, is to eventually, whether it's like on the side along with my like my normal jam or my normal career, but she has a big passion for working with 12U because of a leader that wasn't so great, but yet was still very effective because
Yeah.
it's starting to shape Sarah and what's when I go to lead, right? This is what I'm hearing. When I finally get into the position where I can lead 12U, I will, lead them and mentor them differently because what I was given was not necessarily empowering,
Yeah.
right? Like it was disempowering. It
And
was
like
getting in your own
I
head.
think both cases are okay.
Hmm.
I think having I had a great coach,
Yeah.
motivated me like junior year, amazing coach for
Hmm.
softball.
Hmm.
Never coached the sport in general, and he wasn't that great at it, but he had the love and passion of supporting the girls and wanting the best for them and just pushing them to be the best player that they can be. And that's why the team was like good.
Hmm. Hmm.
We didn't win every game. We kind of low-key sucked compared to everybody
Hmm.
else. But like the team was kind to each other and we
Hmm.
supported one another and like we cared.
Hmm.
And it's like you can learn from that coach of I want to be supportive. I want to push my players. I want to show them the competitive aspect doesn't have to be I want to be better than, the people on my
Hmm.
team. And then you can look at the coach when I was a 12U who told me everything that I was doing wrong and told me that I would never get where I wanted to in life in softball
Hmm.
because I
Hmm.
wasn't quote unquote good at some aspect. And it's like, yeah, that sucked hearing that as an 11-year-old kid.
Hmm.
And I'm just like, okay, I don't want that though.
Yeah.
Like looking now, it's like, okay, I want to be a leader who doesn't do XYZ but does ABC. And it's
Hmm.
not, you can flip their traits of being like, oh, that's a negative trait. It's like, okay, I'm gonna do the opposite. And then you can look at someone who's positive and be like, I'm gonna do that exact thing. And then eventually it just like all interconnects and then like you just become this like I don't want to say like unit, but like you just become the stronger person that, people gravitate towards too because you are a leader, because you carry those qualities. Because it doesn't just have to go into softball.
Sure.
Like
Yeah. How does
those,
those qualities
yeah, like
relate to an
those
entrepreneur, you think?
skills have integrated into my life just in general. It just like it affects how I treat people on day to
Hmm.
day. It affects how I network with people. It's like, okay, that coach who sucked wasn't very good at communication.
Hmm.
I want to be better about communication.
Yeah.
And so it's like I now take that into, my job. And,
Hmm.
I think people, when it comes to like business, it's like you got to be able to communicate those. You got to be able, but not just communicate like or advocate for yourself or like communicate on like a networking standpoint, but it's like when a client comes to you with an issue
Hmm.
about, say, your process, and it's not necessarily like a negative thing about them, but it's a negative
Hmm.
thing about you. You have to
Hmm.
know how to be mature and to be able to like communicate that like this is the standard and stand up for yourself, but
Hmm.
in a professional way. Like
Sure.
I think a lot of times like women can get caught up in like quote unquote like catty talk, but
Hmm.
like a girl will come to you and be like, well, you treat me like this, and then it becomes like, well, you did this for me to do this, and it was just a reaction, so I
Yeah.
don't, it's like it's not that deep, like girlfriend, it's not that deep,
Hmm.
but like you can't say that when
Right.
you're a coach to your client because it's
Yeah.
like you're this professional person. And
Yeah.
so it's like you can't tell your client like they're being a biatch because, they're you can't say that.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the
And
job. You
it's like,
can't say that in your relationships either because once you say these types of words, guys, you can't pull them back,
yeah,
right?
exactly. And so it's like you can't, tell someone that in the heat of a moment because your hormones are imbalanced and you're like, well, don't be my client anymore. Like you can't
Right.
say that because
Right.
it's like you can't take that words back. And so your words back. And so you have to be able to communicate professionally. And whether that means I'm gonna take some time and respond to
Hmm.
you during business hours. I'm gonna
Hmm.
take that time and respond to you when I feel more calm about the situation. Like
Right.
being able to like be mature to say those situations, it means more. It shows your respect for them and it also shows your respect for yourself because it's like you don't want to say something you don't mean and lose a client
Sure.
because it also backfires where if you say something to that client and say they have like interconnection with another client of yours,
Mhm.
they're gonna go and moan and complain to
Mhm.
the other person. The other person's like, I don't want to work with that coach anymore.
Right.
And then bam, two people gone.
Right. Right. And
So
then
it's
eventually
like,
you don't have a business, you guys.
yeah.
I love where this conversation is going because it's very, very true, right? I think it's how you communicate. I think that's whether it's in your marriage and your business or on a softball team or in college or in church or whatever, right? Communication is a huge piece. And I do believe that girls in middle school and everyone, right? But I do believe middle school and high school, like these should be skills that we're taught, right? Like how to communicate with respect, how to take space and create a boundary so that you're not reactive after being triggered because we're all triggered, right? Things happen, we're human. We get triggered and we want to naturally respond. But Sarah mentioned like a really brilliant strategy. It's like take a moment, take a step back, work through your own thing and then come back at it with neutral energy and that I have saved more client relationships where a part of me wanted to be like, wow, right? Like she said. And then I'm like, no, you're going to go work on your own thing. Because I know if I'm being triggered by something, that it probably has nothing to do with what that client, like, is the situation has everything to do with something deeper. So because I have that conscious, like, awareness, right? I'm like, okay, if I'm triggered, then I need to work on my own thing because it's not necessarily about her. But I love that you had that knowledge to say, like, communication is key. Take a step, right? Take a breather, regulate yourself, and then you can come back in it with this calm
And it's,
attitude.
it's like, I wish I could say that I was taught that, but I wasn't. And
Hmm.
it's like, I can look at through high school, basically. I would say that, like, yes, I was always more mature than my age, but I actually didn't start actually acting like it and living by it because, like, I was kind of like living a double standard of, like,
Hmm.
oh, I believe in this, but actually wasn't doing it
Hmm.
myself.
Hmm.
Whereas up until like my junior year, when I realized that people are just annoying and like you don't need to have them in your life. And like especially when it comes to like relationship wise, it's just more of like, I guess like in the past when I was younger, I used to be like, oh, like I'm not a person who like likes to argue or
Hmm.
anything. Cause like actually who likes to argue? But
Right.
like at the same time, when there was an argument that came along, it was more of like attack, attack,
Hmm.
attack, and not like a listen. Whereas now it's like when someone does something that I don't like, or like they send like a long message and it's like, well, you're doing this, this, and this. And I'm like, I could say all the things and mean like, well, you're doing that, that, and
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
I'm like, I choose to respond, hey, I'm gonna reread this text over, I'm gonna think about it, and then I'm gonna respond when, I feel like I have come up with
Hmm.
like a better response.
Hmm.
And like something like my friends have said is like, I just have nothing kind to say. And
Hmm.
like that's a fair response. I
Hmm.
think,
Hmm.
when like people treat you poorly and you just want to be like, well, you're doing this
Yeah.
too. Yeah, like
You.
you're the one who's also like treating me poorly, which gives me a bad reaction, which is why you're reacting. And it's like blah, whatever.
Right.
It's like I don't have anything nice to say at this moment, so I'm just not gonna say anything. And then
Right.
to think
And
about
that is
it,
an okay
and
response,
like,
y'all.
and like, I think that's
Yeah.
fair. And I just
Yeah.
like, people just like overlook that you can just be like, I don't want to talk about that right now. And I
Hmm.
think when people are mature, they're like, okay. And it's not saying I don't want to talk about this at all.
Hmm.
It's just I don't want to talk about this right now.
No.
It's
Yeah.
because right now I'm heated and I don't like you right now. And
Yeah.
I just want to
We're
punch you
gonna
in the
fight.
face. But it's
Yeah.
like, I come back into a time where I'm like, okay, I can like clasp my hands and be like, so this is the reason why I'm frustrated because you did this and this is how that made me feel. Versus
Hmm.
being like, well, I hate you
Yeah. Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
it's like, it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be that petty or immature.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I said this earlier, but people just overthink everything. And like, people just make everything
Yeah.
more 10 times complex than it needs to be. It's like,
Yeah.
it's simple. It's like, take the time. It's like, fine, whatever. Like, you don't want to talk about it? Okay, cool. We'll
Well,
talk
no
about it
big
when we're
deal.
both chill.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, question, Sarah, I mean, you knew that I was writing this solo book, right? Unapologetic. Do you know any of the laws besides the one we just talked about?
No.
So you don't really know yet, right? I haven't
No.
shared, guys. We don't live in the same country right now. Like we don't get this mother-daughter time as much as like we have right now, which I'm just so blessed with. So what I'm going to let you guys know what all the universal laws are. And I want you to go then and think back to everything that Sarah just said, because this is who I be, right? These universal laws are my principles. It's like when my coach said, Carissa, how are you this unstoppable, fearless, badass entrepreneur who's healthy and who's, follows her heart and like all of these things? He always said, if you could figure out how you are, like how you operate from the inside out, because everyone sees the outside, right? They see the confidence, they see the money, they see the bank account, they see the relationship, they see my role model, like all of the things. And they're like, oh, I wish, I wish. And he said, Chris, if you can figure out how you operate, because it's the inside, it's that self-mastery piece that you've mastered, which has helped you get to the business and all of the things. So as I tell you all 10 universal laws, um, I want you to just kind of reflect back on what she just said, because this is really brilliant. She doesn't have any idea of what the chapters inside this book are, but this is what I mean. She is so wise and so smart. And these are why I wanted to have her on the conversation. Okay, so universal law number one is aligned decisions, right? The biggest problem is women are sitting and making fear-based, people-pleasing decisions to please others versus herself. She already addressed that topic. Universal law number two is what I call radical self-responsibility, aka no one's coming to save you, right? Like a lot of women, I think, are programmed to like victim, why me, and you, and like you made me feel this way. And instead of saying like, oh, I'm feeling this way. So it's all about taking ownership of those decisions and ownership of your life and ownership of like where you are and just simply choosing, right? So she's kind of mentioned something like that. Universal law number three is what I call embody discipline, right? Which is really comes down to the habits, the rituals, and the routines that make iconic women iconic, right? Like we all know that consistency and commitment are key to anything that you want. It's not necessarily about, you know, um, doing all of the things, but it's like if you want to lose weight or if you want to be a great softball player, if you want to be a great entrepreneur, if you want to make lots of sales, it's going to come down to those micro habits, the day to day. And I guarantee if we looked at Sarah, even as a college student, I guarantee Sarah, you are still food prepping. I guarantee,
Yeah.
were any of your dorm sisters food prepping? Like,
No.
no, right, right. Did you go to the gym almost every single day?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she keeps up with the habits that we were teaching
Yeah.
her because it's a lifestyle, right? And we as a family, we value our health. And so like it's all about the habits, right? You have to, if you want to, achieve your degree, you've probably got to create the habits of studying and all of those things. So that's universal. That's that next one. This is one that I know we had a different conversation on a different podcast episode around, but she had mentioned this all in mentality and that she thinks that a lot of people would be a lot further along if they just commit, right? Be in it. Don't freaking stop when things get messy or hard. So universal law, Sarah, number four is what I call law of determination, because so many people are dabbling and like touching their fingers and like it's like a pool, right? Like, is this cold enough or warm enough for me to jump in? I'm like, just jump in, right? Just go all in. So she mentioned, in a previous episode that, you just need to be all in. If you say you want something, if you want to achieve a goal, you need to be all in. Quit freaking dabbling. Quit, putting your toe in the water and be like, and then discomfort. I don't know if I want it. So that is that universal law. Universal law number 5 is one of my favorites. It's the universal law of becoming. This is all around identity expansion and creation. We aren't quite ready for the roles that we are typically put into. She was not ready for the pitcher identity, the role. She was not quite ready in a sense for taking on the leadership and coaching that team, but she just naturally stepped into it. Even if there was a point in her own brain that was probably like, I don't really know what I'm doing here, but we're just going to make this up and we're going to own it and we're going to just go with it, right? Because she knew that if she acted with that confidence, that others would follow her. And I think that that makes a huge leadership quality. And you just naturally took that on and you just put on the identity of I'm a friggin' pitcher now and let's figure this out. And I'm going to like she could have blamed the entire crappy games that they didn't win on, well, I just didn't know and nobody taught me. But it's like, she's like, no, if I want to be the best at this position, I'm going to go out and I'm going to do the damn thing. I'm going to
I also
learn, right?
don't have like victim mentality, so I
Exactly.
like just going back, like I just own the decision. I'm like, if I messed up, I'm like, yeah, I messed up, guys. Like I got out at first base one time because I was like with the pitcher and the umpire was like, you can't do that. And I was like, sorry.
And he's like,
And
you're
I was
out.
out. And like the game was over because I was like the third out. And then we were like super close to winning. And I was like, oh, frick. I
Yes. Oh
called
my
that.
gosh.
But then I was like, in the thing, I was like, you know what, guys? That's on me.
She took ownership of
Even though in my
that.
own mind, like I was like, would we have probably won? Probably not. But I was like, I know that in that moment that I made the wrong decision.
Right.
And I was like, okay, cool. I'm just sorry, guys. I messed up. Won't happen again. I won't be cocky.
Which is a leadership quality, y'all, because so many leaders are
I
like,
think just
it's
being
about, yes,
honest. Yeah. Like
yeah,
you can't just blame. Like I could have blamed, oh, the reason why we didn't win is because you messed up and you messed up.
right.
But it's like, no, I messed up
I messed
too.
up too.
And it's like and also maybe this is positive or not, but it's like I rather take the blame knowing that I can handle the blame versus giving
Mhm.
it off to someone else and being like, well, you really majorly messed up with not catching
Mhm.
this pop fly and that
Mhm.
caused us 3 runs.
Right,
But
yeah.
I'm like, no. I'm like, guys, yeah, I messed
It's
up. I'm
not
like,
me.
you know what, you didn't catch the pop fly because, I didn't teach you how to.
Right, right. So
And I'm
she's
like,
like taking full ownership of
I'll
all of
take
this.
it because it's like at the end of the day, like I know that I can move on and I can,
Mhm.
I can grow from it. And even when someone else messes up, I'm like, well, maybe I could have done something to support them a little bit better so that they wouldn't have messed up.
Right.
But again,
Oh,
that's just natural to me. And it's just like
yeah,
it's weird to like think about like people don't have that same mindset and that's
right.
what yeah, sorry, continue.
All good. Do you see why I wanted, like, we could do a whole 10 episodes on this. She's so wise and just, I know she may not say, like, I'm a great leader, but like,
Just
she
being
has
humble.
a lot of great leadership qualities naturally as a 19-year-old. And this was when she was like 17, y'all. So I'm gonna like mama boost here and be like, she's amazing. She's great. I raised
Yeah.
an amazing daughter. Okay, so universal law number 6 in the book is what I call the law of authenticity. I feel a lot of people feel that who they are deep down isn't enough, right? So naturally, they want to copy other people or they start, altering photo. Like it's like just be confident with who you are. It's okay that not everyone likes you. It's okay that you're not everyone's cup of tea. I mean, do you remember in Kenya when there was a girl who just wanted to be so much like Carissa, and then everyone was noticing it, and then someone had to have a conversation, a communication problem. They were like, just be you, right? And so
I
authenticity is
was
a
one of those
mess.
people where I was like, you look uncomfortable. Like, you're not you because you're
Yes.
uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. And so authenticity is a huge problem with a lot of women, right? We think that who we are isn't enough. And in a weird way, when we adapt or when we start to copy or mimic somebody else's personality, it's if there's a positive to that, because she's optimistic, I'm optimistic. If there's a positive to that, I always think, oh, okay, it's flattery, right? Like somebody wants to be like me, that's amazing. And the opposite side is the positive of somebody kind of mimicking somebody else is that they see a quality in somebody else that they wish they kind of had. And kids even do that, right? When we're raising kids to do stuff, our kids are reflections of who we are. And so it's a good thing until it's not a good thing, right? But I always say women need to figure out who they are, not give a shit about what other people think of them, and just be them. I mean, that's happiness and freedom is like I
Yeah.
don't worry about what people think of me because I am God created me to be me. I don't want to be somebody else. I don't want to be Sarah,
Yeah.
right? Like
And
it's
like I don't
crazy.
I agree with you. I don't think it's bad to like want to be not want to be like I don't want to be my mom, but like
Hmm.
I aspire to have like certain qualities that you have. And like, there was a point where it's like I wasn't confident, but I was like, fake it till you make it. So I was like, I'm a fake being this super energetic, confident person. And then like eventually it just became like a habit. And then I was like, oh shoot, I actually am confident. I do have
He
energy.
changed her
And
own
it's
neural
like,
pathways,
and
by the way.
it's like that mindset of like fake it till you make it isn't necessarily wrong. It's just
Mhm.
like it works positively for some people, and then there's some people who like have an identity crisis. They're like,
I don't even know.
I don't know. And so it's just like if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, whatever, like find
Right.
something else that does.
Yeah.
And so it's not wrong to like want to have similar qualities to people, but it's wrong to want to be someone because like you'll never be that
Right.
person. Like
You're setting yourself up for
yeah,
expectations you'll never ever meet,
yeah.
and then you're gonna feel like really
Because
crappy.
at the same time, it's like actually no, because you may see this person in like a certain aspect or situation,
Hmm.
or just seen, and you're like, wow, this person's like perfect. I want to be just like them. But in reality, it's like they have their own marriage issues or business issues. It's like you just don't see that aspect.
Right.
It's like they may struggle with their internal self-confidence, but you don't know that because they just don't let it show through. So it's like you don't actually want to be this person. You want to be like that person, but
Right.
not you
Right.
don't want to be them.
Yeah.
I
And
think.
I realized in my coaching career, early on, at first women were like, I want to be like you. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. But I think it was like 3 years in, and I started thinking, I don't want them to be like me. And what they don't really want to be like me, but they want those qualities, right? They admire the
Yeah.
discipline, they admire the motivation, they admire the sheer grit and determination that I have. So they naturally say, oh, I just want to be like Carissa, like help me become you. And I'm like, I actually want to help you become you and
Yeah.
and just adapt the characteristics, become the disciplined woman, become the driven woman and determined and all of those things. So it's kind of weird. I think early on in coaching life is like, oh, I want everyone to do what I do. And then it's like, oh no, I want to mentor you side by side. And
Yeah.
now I'm in this place where I want my clients to go past me.
Just
What were you gonna say, girl?
dumb.
What were you
Anyway,
gonna say? I'll let you tag team that
I
one.
was like thinking, and it's like, like players have come up to me and been like, "Oh, I want to be just like you." Where it's like, like I had that a lot my senior year because there's like three girls who like really looked up to me my senior year, and they're like, "I want to be just like you,"
Hmm.
and I was like, "No," I was like, "That's great, thank you." Like, I'm not
Hmm.
trying to like
Like, love you.
disregard their
That's sweet.
compliment.
Yeah.
But and then I told a few, I think I told like two of them actually. I was like, I don't want that for you. I want you to be actually a million times better than me. It's like
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm like cool, you want to be this crazy shortstop pitcher duo thing. Like me and this one
Yeah.
girl shared the same position. We shared a lot of similar aspects and a lot of like similar mindset. And she was like, one time she told me at the beginning of the season, she's like, man, I just look up to you so much. I just want to be just like you. And I was like, no, I was like, the path that you're going, you're gonna be better than me. And I was like, and I want that for you.
Yeah.
And that's like the leadership quality that I think is like important is that like when you're a coach or when you're in a business and you have clients and they come to you, especially like personally in like personal growth
Yeah.
type of businesses, because obviously you can't do that when it's like lawyer or whatever. But
Right.
like,
Yeah. Something
when it comes to like growing your like personal development in any kind of way, whether it's, money,
personal or professional.
yeah,
Yeah.
spiritual, whatever. It's more so it's like your coach should want you to be better than them
Hmm.
in just in my opinion, because it's like why would your coach want you to just reach something
Hmm.
and then be like, cool, you got that, good job, and then just like
Hmm.
ditch you? Whereas
Right.
like I know you as a coach, it's like you keep in touch with people who may not even be your clients
Hmm.
anymore, and you're just like, hey, how are you doing? Like, how are your goals going still?
Hmm.
Even though you may not even be like actively coaching them.
Hmm.
And the girls that you do actively coach, I know that like you're in their business. You're like, tell me your goals, tell me your wins, tell me all the things that like you like and dislike, and we're gonna get you to a point where like this was your goal, and then you're gonna reach that goal, but you're gonna reach it 10 times more than
Yeah.
what you wanted in the like initially. Like I feel like people will come to you and be like, as like simply put, I guess in a way, it's like you can have a client come to you and be like, I want to have $1,000 profit or whatever, and you're like, that's a great goal. We're gonna get you to making $10,000
Mhm.
though in profit
Right.
at the same time zone though. It's
Right.
like at the same timeline. It's like, you're the kind of coach that like can amplify their goal 10 times more than
Mhm.
what they wanted, just because that's just kind of like who your
This is who it
personality
is.
is.
But unfortunately, right there in the coaching space, there's a lot of coaches that want to coach you, but keep you, right? So there's like a I'm going to teach you just enough, but
Whereas you
you
just
always
like
need
move
me.
on.
Yes, I'm like, go be the
You don't need me
multimillionaire.
anymore.
I want to coach myself out of the position because then I know I've done that job. I mean, I
Yeah,
just
I mean, like, I think selfishly, like, even people who are like personal trainers, like in the gym, they're like,
mhm,
they want you to succeed in your goals, and then they'll get you to your goal, and they're like, okay, what's your next goal? Like, they're kind of like
mhm.
searching for that like money aspect, whereas
It's scarcity. Like,
I
oh, I
feel
don't want
like
them to not need me because
it's
then that's
not,
a
and it's
paycheck.
not that like you're gonna do anything to hinder their goal. It's just like
Right.
you're gonna try to like, yes, it's good to like push them to make another goal, but it's
Uh-huh.
like, how far are you gonna push them to try to continue them as a client when like they get to a point, they reach their goal? It's like that's what they came here for. Like
Right.
let them go. If
Like,
they
feel
want,
good about
I'm like,
that.
if
You
they
know,
want to work
yeah.
with you again for
Right.
another goal, great. Like you have that
Mm.
client and clientele that can like continue to grow, and like you can grow that relationship even more and push them even more. And like they now have the confidence that they can do anything. But it's like with how like I feel like just with how your program is built, it's like you can reach your goal, but you've already done the work,
Mhm.
everything that is needed to reach that one goal. It's like now you can reach anything that you want because you already know the like fundamentals. So it's like
Mhm.
you actually don't need me here
Right.
because you already know them.
Mhm.
And
But
yeah.
as you know, right, you have to keep who you surround yourself with matters as well.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, we're getting to this. I promise you guys. Okay, so that was law of authenticity, right? Be you, be the most beautiful, bold, authentic you, and people you will attract your people. You know, quit trying to people please and do that. So universal law number 7 is what I call law of sovereign direction. I feel like a lot of people use the excuse of I don't have enough time. And over the years, I've realized that, everyone has the same amount of time. And so I love teaching in this chapter specifically how to be intentional with your time, how to be purposeful with your time. And, I'm sure as a college student, you already started managing like, oh my gosh, time and all of the things. But that's a big thing that so many people just need to learn how to master on their
Yeah, I
time.
think, can I comment?
Yeah.
This is a harsh comment.
Go ahead.
I think when people really want to do something, they'll make the time for it. I think when people don't, then they're like, oh, I don't have enough time to like
Hmm.
do that. It's like, do you really?
Hmm.
There's enough time. It's like, but are you willing to like sacrifice something else?
Right.
And like
Like maybe
people,
not 10 hours of Netflix today if you actually want to build your business. Like,
like it's just like I mean like if you really 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 if you say you actually do have a busy schedule from 7 a.m. all the way to 7 p.m. and you're like I
mhm,
gotta make dinner and I gotta go to bed, it's like okay, cool. But if you really 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 wanted it, you would cut into your bedtime
mm. Or
to just do it.
something.
And I'm not saying that like that's what you have to do in order to like go to the gym or whatever, like you have to go in at 9 p.m. if that's all you
Hmm.
have, but it's like if you really wanted it, you would. I like
Right. You'd find the time
I'm
to
a
make the
victim
time.
to like in college where like I didn't have anything to do, so I would just like scroll on social media and then I'd be like, well, I didn't have time to study. It's like actually I did, but I just decided to spend 2 hours on my phone
Right.
and then I ran out of my free time.
Right.
And so it's like you just choosing you just have to like give and take what you're willing to like sacrifice
Right.
and like just do, because at the end of the day, like you do have time. I told myself going into college, I was like, I was worried about the gym and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna have enough time. I have plenty of time. Like
Because it's a core
I
value of
spent more time
yours.
in the gym than I did in class. Let's be real.
No.
Yeah. But like actually just I mean, like grand scheme, it's like
Yeah.
I decided to go to the gym every single day, and yet there was days where I chose not to go to a certain class
Hmm.
because I wanted to go to the gym.
Right. Yeah.
Because like granted, I didn't need to go to the class. No, no, no. But like I'm just saying, like there's like you can do things to get what you want to get done. It's like
But it goes back to
it's
universal
just
law number two, radical
yeah.
self-responsibility, right? Like, so I hear I don't have enough time. I've got kids. I've got these. I've
That's
got
like
that.
juice
It's like,
mentality.
and, but as a mom, okay, who has missed plenty of things that my children have done that I, wish that I would have been there for, I also showed them as a role model. Like, if you want to achieve your business goals, you're going to have, like, it's not that I sacrificed because I was there for plenty of it. But when I hear women say, I don't have enough time because we're in sports season, I'm like, yeah, but like you're the mother. Do they really need to be in five
It's like, do you
sports?
need to be at the practice every
Right,
practice? It's like,
right.
no, you don't need
They
to
don't
sit and
even
watch.
want you
You
there.
don't even need to sit and watch your kid for 2 hours. It's like,
Right.
go do something.
Right. Go do self-care. Do the thing that
Yeah.
you don't have the time for. But to your point, you find the time for the things that are important to you. And I think that is one of the worst habits that so many women have is just saying, I don't have time. That's a habit, guys. Every
Yeah.
time you say that.
It's like
So,
if you're in my opinion, it's just like granted it's different for like different situations, but like if you're necessarily like single, and I'm not saying that you have to be, but like if you're like, oh, I want to be able to spend like 2 hours, say you work a 9 to 5, you go to the gym, you're doing everything, but yet you don't like you're finding like a lack of time to put towards like their business that you're trying to grow.
mhm,
And you're like, well, I just like I come home from work and I have to cook a full meal. It's like you could meal prep on Sunday your dinners, then bam,
mhm.
you can
Or
like
you
do
could
stuff
quit
like
the
that.
job and go all in on the business, right? Like,
That's
but
fair.
either way, that's your decision.
Yeah.
You're deciding to play in your current role and, part-time in your business, where I'm like, how about you do full-time what the thing that you actually want to do and then maybe part-time work just so, to whatever it is. But like it all comes back to those decisions. Like where you're at in your life is always going to come to the decisions that you're making, good, bad, or whatever, but own the damn decision. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Universal law number 8 is one of my favorites. It's the easiest thing for me to do. It's energetic liberation. And what I mean by that is you have to be willing to detox the people and the things and the stuff in your life that are weighing you down, right? If you want to be great at something and yet you have all these friends that are, or your family that's like, oh, that's going to be hard. And like their intentions may be good for you. However, them bringing you back down, like misery loves company. Like I'm sorry, right? Like if you're trying to change your mindset and go from like negative to positive, stop hanging out with negative people all the time. If you're trying to not be broke, quit hanging out with broke people, right? You are the sum of the five. But people is just one of the things, but like think of clutter, right? Like mental clutter, physical clutter in your life. So you have to be willing to ditch what no longer serves you if you really want to be successful.
It's also just like simply put, it's just easier to be around
Right.
like
It's just
like
you
if
just
you're
find your
okay,
tribe and it's
if
so
you're
much easier.
if your friend group likes to smoke weed and you don't want to smoke weed, like yeah, you could stop or like you could really resist not to like to smoke, I don't know, cigarettes, let's just say
Yeah.
cigarettes. If you're surrounding yourself with friends who like to smoke and you're trying to quit, it's like, yeah, you could quit being around smokers,
Mhm.
but it's 10 times harder to quit being around smokers than just hanging out with completely different people
Right,
and
right.
being like with yourself. It's like, yeah, you can hang around broke people while you're trying to like grow your business, but then you become, say you do grow and you do become like the boss girl who's like making her own dollar bills and all that kind of stuff. But now your broke friends are like, hey, can you help me out? Can you do this? Can you do that? Like they're trying to get you to spend on them, or they're just like, why are you working so hard? You don't have to, like, it's just harder. It's like,
Yeah. Set yourself up
why
for
make it so
success.
much harder for yourself? It's like if you have the choice to take an easier path and it's gonna serve you like grace in that aspect, yes, I would say normally I would like to take the harder path when it comes
Hmm.
to like sports because I'm like, yeah, you got to learn the nitty gritty, how to be disciplined even when it's hard, blah blah blah. But like there's an easier path to make $1 million, and it's
Here's
gonna help
this is a
you.
metaphor for softball.
It's gonna
Sarah,
help
would you
you.
agree or disagree? If you are playing on a team of A star rock stars and you are actually on like well, you playing with them, isn't that going to raise your skill level? Or would you rather be the star on a really
No,
shitty
I
team?
have always said since I was like 8 that I'd rather be the worst player on the
Yes.
team than the best player because, again, I'm competitive and I want to be better than everybody. So it's like if I have someone who's better than me, who's faster than me, it's gonna raise me. Like
Mm-hmm.
I may have been good my junior, senior year. There was one girl who was faster than me, and she knows who she is.
We'll share the episode.
And she beat me in all these relay races, and it pissed me off. And I was like, I'm gonna go into sprinting. I'm gonna do more sprinting at the gym, and I did. And I got close, and I beat her once. And I don't know if she left me, but I won't let her down because she was huffing and puffing after. So I think she went all in, and I beat her actually.
But
But like,
see, she's not
there's
blaming her and hating the girl. She
yeah,
says, "Ooh,
yeah.
I'm gonna do better.
Like
I'm
I'm
gonna work
not.
on
Like
me."
it's great being the greatest player, but
Sure
like when you're
feels great
playing with people
ego-wise.
who aren't as good as you or who don't even want to, it's if you can be good and people want to be competing with you at your level, it's good
Yeah.
because you have that competition level of there's someone's trying to chase after you and you have to maintain.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like I would, yes, I liked being like a good player, like especially like on my senior year because there was girls who wanted to be better than me and
Mhm.
that was fun. It was a
And then
different
she
because like but like growing up it
Yes.
was like I was best on the team and people got mad at me because I was the best and they're like why are you on this team if you're just gonna complain and I'm like you're right. So I went to a better team.
Right.
And it's like, but going into like my senior year where I was better, there was like 4 or 5 girls who were hungry for it. And I was like, there was two that were pretty close to like getting on me and I was like no because I'm competitive so it's like I pushed myself even more but
Right.
I was never like ew they're trying to
Yeah.
be better than me it's like no I was pushed even
It's you
more
against you, y'all.
it
It's how
doesn't
it
matter
is. Yes.
it's like and so it's like whether you're chasing someone who's better than you or you have someone who's trying to chase you it's like you just have to push yourself and it's like it's frustrating when people make excuses of like
Hmm.
oh, well, this person has that opportunity or this person has this resource. It's like,
Go
so
out and find
fucking
it.
what? Make your
Right.
own opportunity.
Yes, go out and find it, y'all. Like it's there. Like we live in a world where information and knowledge is like everywhere, y'all. So
Yeah,
like if you want to learn how to cook, go learn how to cook. If you want to learn how to start a business, hire a mentor, start a business, right? Like the fact that you're using, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, people don't understand me, those are excuses that sound better than I'm just kind of lazy and I don't
well,
really want to do it.
especially when it's like, when people are like, oh, I can't afford a mentor. And I'm like, okay, you can't afford them right now. What can you do though to
Right.
like
What can you do?
build? And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't want to be on social media because I'm trying to, okay, cool. You have a public library. Go read a personal help book because they have
Hmm.
those in there.
Right.
It's not a
Right.
used section as people may think it is. But it's like there's a lot of books in a library that can have self-help.
For sure. Like this book, Unapologetic, by the way, because not
Plug
only
on
do
Amazon
we,
coming out in
it's
oh,
out, girl.
it's on Amazon.
Amazon, you can get it there. But like this is more than a personal development book. I mean,
Yeah.
could you know, like we haven't even gotten through all of them, you guys, but like I not only talk about, yes, the problem, it's important to become aware of the problem because if you're not aware that you make this as an excuse or that you're using it as a crutch or you're allowing the negative people to kind of run your life, if you're not aware of it, awareness is key to all transformation. Okay. So you have to first be aware that this is a problem for you. And not everyone's going to have all of the problems, right? I'm just saying, out of decades of helping hundreds of women, I'm realizing a very common pattern, but it all started with me, right? These laws came from me going through a moment where, it sucked and it was misery and I had to figure out how to get something out of it. And so this to me is like a book that not only is going to talk about the problem, but more importantly, give you the solution and the tool. Because every single chapter, Sarah, has a handout and a worksheet, and there's a full playbook that goes with it, honestly, that you can do this internal work by yourself with the book and the playbook and a pen, right? So there's no excuse that you don't have money to hire a coach because I guarantee guarantee that Starbucks that you just had earlier today,
Yeah.
and this whole week probably added up to more than what this book costs. So again, it's priorities and it's what you value. But a lot of people can get stuck in that negative mindset because of the negative people in your life. So that was universal law. Number 8, universal law number 9 is subconscious programming. So we're not going to get into that because, I truly believe that what we think we become. And so if you always think that you're a loser or that you're overweight
You're gonna
or
be a
that,
loser.
yeah, you're like, it's you, your thoughts are things, right? It's like spells. And so, yeah, I truly believe that the easiest way for you to change your life is to change how you think, and that is that optimism that you absolutely love,
Yeah.
right? So we can dive into that, but I do want to get to the universal law number 10, which is energetic expansion, which is frequency. And yes, we have our own perspective on frequency, so we're not going to dive into that, guys. However, the very last chapter, Sarah, I go into how to overcome fear and how to really build the skill of confidence. So
Yeah.
can you see why I'm like uber passionate about this book? It addresses so many things: fear, confidence, self-esteem, all in, mentality, determination, decisions. Like, it's more than a self-help book. It's a how to do life and truly master your mind, your body, your business, and
Yeah.
anything that you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everything that you mentioned in your very first story, if we're going to circle it back around, if you guys notice, she had no idea what these chapters were.
No.
But see how they are all intertwined? And I don't care if you're 19 or if
But
you're 40.
and just like it just puts it into perspective. It's like yeah, I haven't, I know my mom posts about it on social media, and I'm gonna be honest,
Yeah.
I like it because I love to support my mom, but do I actually read it? No. And it's because it's like whatever my mom posts, I'm gonna support her in it. But it just like it literally shows that like having someone in your life who like has had this example, or just being like not selfishly, but like me being natural of like being a leader and being
Mhm.
optimistic and like having that kind of confidence, or like growing into it either way, or just experiencing life. But when you have a certain outlook or a certain mindset about things, it's like you already know these things internally, and now like talking about them, it's like obviously like I've learned these things just by growing up. So I've learned these things in, 19 years of
Mhm.
my life. And like let's be real, I didn't really start applying anything until my junior year. So realistically, I actually haven't like I've really changed my life in the past 2 years more drastically than I have before. And it's because I like you in a way you could say I started just doing these things naturally, because it's like I already had that intuition of like wanting to be better as a person. So it's
Mhm.
just like it is easy if you make it easy. It's like
Right.
it
If you
doesn't like
choose
it
to
literally
make it
it
easy.
doesn't have to be hard.
Right.
Like you
I love it.
you have
Oh my gosh, part 3 of the podcast. It doesn't have to be hard. A lot of people make it hard because it's some way they like being a victim of their
in a way it's
circumstances.
also like making things hard is just I mean it's more natural for humans to make things harder than it needs to
Yeah.
be, and it's like sometimes you just have to look at it at face level and be like, okay, that's the problem. Okay, cool. It's not that deep. Like
Mm-hmm.
you have a problem with commitment, okay, like yes, dive into why you have that problem and understand why, because then you can overcome that. But at the same time, it's like make the choice to not have that problem and try to grow. Like it's not like you have to choose to do something and then you have to immediately do it every day for the rest of your
Mm-hmm.
life, but it's like you have to at least take a step, make that choice, and then make a step to be better.
Action. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's huge. So I'm gonna kind of end it with this is like this is why I'm incredibly passionate about helping women master themselves, because her brother, I love him and he's saved me in so many ways, right? But he, in his fundamental growing up years, he did not have the role model that I wish that I could have been for him. And because I was lost myself, right? It was a dark, dark day, a dark time and period of my life. And so this goes to show you that girls need role models. Our kids need the leader that we are capable of being. And like she's just naturally driven, naturally motivated. Where my son, he's naturally driven and motivated in his own way, but not to the point where she is. But they grew up with almost two separate mindset of a mother's, right? Sad, depressed, stressed. and there's nothing that I can't do if I put my mind to it type mom, like two different types of moms in a sense in their fundamental growing up years. And so I say that because I'm wildly obsessed and very, very passionate about two things. One, helping women become the best versions of them because our children need us to do that. That is our duty, I feel, to be a strong role model for, our children. Okay. Because God gave me this purpose and he said, Carissa, you are here to change the next 10 generations of lives. Not you specifically, but it all starts with one, right? It's like I'm one. She's a generation that will never probably struggle with certain things. If she has ever kids, right, her kids will probably not struggle with the things that my mom struggled. So it stopped with me, right? The chain broke with me. And that's just one person. So can you imagine when I've worked with hundreds, that's how we start changing lives. The second thing I'm really passionate about is our humanitarian work, because so many girls don't have the role model. So it's easy for me to say, you know what, I will absolutely serve and give my time and my energy and pour love into other families and children that don't have that. Because I don't blame their circumstances. I'm just saying I can do something about that. And that's why I'm really passionate about working with women, especially women who have the capacity to lead better and lead more, and kids, because I believe every little girl needs to be growing up with a mindset that's optimistic and confident, and although we go through our own challenges, um we need to learn through those moments. However, it is way easier when you have someone kind of role modeling what it is that is not taught in schools. I mean, honestly,
Yeah, it's
confidence,
like
resilience, emotional intelligence.
no, and
It's not
it's
taught in school.
hey, obviously it's like I'm 19, like I'm not a mom, I'm not a wife, I'm
Mhm.
yet, but like I've seen my friends, like I've seen me impact my friends because of who I am. Like my my really close friends. Like you can have like mutual friends, but like
Mhm.
the people that you surround yourself with, they don't necessarily like I don't think that they necessarily need to be greater than you in a way that like if you see them greater than you, great, you have something to strive for, or like
Mhm.
you want to be like them, but not be them. Be like them.
Yeah.
But it's like in a way they may not have, a role model present in their life, but you can, even though you're like their friend or like, a captain to them or like a role model. So like I think people, if you're watching this and you're like my age or you're younger and you're like, well, I don't like 20, you're like, I didn't have that role model. It's like, okay, well then become the role model for your friends,
Mhm.
become the role model for the people that you surround yourself with. Like when people look at you, make them want to be around you. Like don't be that person that nobody wants to hang out with or
Mhm.
nobody wants to be with because you're negative, because all you think about is like the sorrowful things, because that's a miserable life. It's
Yeah.
sad and it's lonely and it's, quite frankly, for positive people like me, it's annoying
Yeah.
because it's just like you're trying to bring me down when I'm trying to bring everybody else up. So it's like don't be that person. Get the help that you need and like just become the person that you want to, and become that like role model and leader that your friends can look up to, that even though you're mutuals or you're
Peers.
like equal in status, I guess, you can look up to them. And if you're someone who's 35 who is married, who is a mom, it's like, okay, be that role model for your kids, but also like be that person that your husband can lean on or
Mhm.
that your partner can lean on, and also aspire to be more like you. It's like I know you and Will,
Mhm.
look at each other and you're like, oh, he has like a quality that I wish like I could be better about.
Mhm.
Not that I wish that I had, but like because you guys have similar
Yeah.
qualities
We
because you've
challenged
been
each other.
together, but
Yeah.
like like be with a person that like is gonna push you, because I mean it all goes back to like all of your laws that you're talking about. It's like surround yourself with the people that you're wanting. It's like I know you would never marry someone who's not active or not in the gym, because
Mhm.
it's like that's just not an option for you.
Right.
So it's like don't do that to yourself. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. So it's just be the person that you want to be, and and then let it influence your life, and like really watch how much it takes you, and like see how far you can actually go. Because it's like, even within my own friend group, it's like, man, I've been gone for 4 days, and they're like, we need you back. And I'm like, I know I'm cool, but
We call this the ripple effect, y'all. I saved myself, which then influenced her, and now she's influencing her own peers, and that's a beautiful thing, right? And
and then
eventually,
influence me,
yeah,
because
and
you're
vice
just
versa.
like
Yeah,
me. So
yeah.
it's just
Because
like,
you like-minded people
yeah.
like find like-minded. So it's okay if you've outgrown the people in your life, you guys. Not everyone is meant to be with you for your entire life. And so we're just going to kind of end this episode. I think between what you and I shared, Sarah, it's very inspirational. I hope you guys took, time to write notes down. Please share this episode if you have anyone that is really, really struggling with you know, um, any of these skills that could be built, because the unapologetic book can absolutely be that resource and that tool for you. So if you're watching this, go ahead and like, subscribe, share, comment below with which universal law was you're like, oh my gosh. Comment below and give Sarah some love. Is this your first podcast ever? Yeah, first podcast, and she just kind of like rocked it. So, all right, you guys, this is Carissa Adkins, and I am so freaking excited for what's coming in the next coming weeks, where we are going to be diving deep into the body, the nervous system, and stress, and how it affects us as leaders, as mothers, as entrepreneurs, and all of it. So, stay with us. We are kicking butt, taking names, changing the world, and being the ripple effect. All right, bye.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Iconic Leadership. If today's conversation activated something within you, make sure you subscribe and share this podcast with women who are ready to rise up too. Leaving a review helps this movement reach more women stepping into their power. This is Iconic Leadership.